everyone, and welcome to an episode of Rantz. It's Crisandro, of course, and yeah, it's been a while since we've done one of these ones. It's been kind of obviously, as you know, you haven't been living under a rock for the last few months. It's been kind of a strange period. No football, and then there was football, and then there's been kind of concentrated football. So with no fans, and so it's kind of like a weird moment, obviously, and we were all trying to negotiate our way through it. With me as always, partner in crime, the Shoes Master, the Shoe Perignon, the Shoe Young Messi. I don't know, trying to do expressions here. I don't think it's working, but yeah, Shoes on the mic. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Interesting use of my nickname, but still. So yeah, let's get to it.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously they just released not even a trailer really. I think this is kind of like an edit, basically it's like a daily really almost on the Amazon Prime documentary that's going to be released.
Yeah.
Obviously, with this being a family-friendly podcast, we should warn people that there is explicit language being used. However, given I do speak other languages, if you know they've been calling you a mango, and if you know what it also means in Turkish, you can kind of guess what's said there. And if you can do that, bloody hell, fair play to you. But obviously when we signed this Amazon deal, a lot of things couldn't have been predicted about how the season was going to go. I mean, Pochettino's being removed.
I think it was signed on the coattails of us being in the Champions League final. I guess they wanted to capitalise on that, didn't they? Because they thought going on to bigger and greater things. But yeah,
that was the hope. I mean, it's not, cause I'm trying to think of many clubs. I remember AS Monaco. I mean, it's interesting. Like AS Monaco, they're in the Champions League final, and then I think 3 years later got relegated.
Yes, that's true.
Bayer Leverkusen, haven't really gone on to do anything since then. Obviously, the Goons, obviously they've not, although they've won, numerous domestic titles, have never really recaptured those glories.
Mm.
So, and I think apart from Juve's side, no team that's finished the runner-up really has, it does affect you. I think it does, it's a pinnacle, but then ultimately, I mean, that's the Arsenal side. That was basically that last of that really good Arsenal team, with Henry and I think who else was there? I think Lundberg was there as well. Gallas, maybe. No, Gallas hasn't joined us yet.
Campbell, it was.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, it was So, but they are defined. They are defined. They are era-defining moments. Either way, really, and it's just interesting how it goes. Cause, like, I can't remember. Like, obviously, I think Messi, was he playing in that final? I don't remember. The final. I don't think he was. They were talking about him, but people knew how good this wonder kid was. But
which final was that? Sorry,
2006.
Yes. No, he wasn't. No, I don't think it was.
So, like I said, it's just, like I said, I remember Ronaldinho being in that final, but like I said, and it's one of those things that can happen. But yeah, not talking about them, but obviously, I mean, you've seen it. I mean, obviously, people know I am someone who likes Jose Mourinho, but even I was having my doubts, and although was it results and mask things? I mean, like results have been very good the last week or so. Obviously, winning the North London Derby, etc., and obviously winning in Newcastle. Is it now San Jose's part now? Instead of St James's?
No, I wouldn't say that exactly. I think, when Jose came in, obviously we were on a bit of a downer or a bit of a backslide. And as I know we've talked about it many times before that, the slide down happened most of last season. Just the Champions League final covered it up almost. But when he came in, it was then the start of the horrible injury crisis that we were having, wasn't it? I mean, there was a time where we couldn't even field a striker because Kane was out, and then Son was out, then Lamella was always perpetually injured. It was kind of a weird moment, and then obviously his first. I mean, apart from the Man City game where we were quite brilliant, and the Chelsea game, at the home game where we just didn't turn up. Most of the time we had literally no players, didn't we? So I guess that's where the issue happened. That's where
I think it's more a reflection of that we've had since 2015 we've really basically struggled to replace or find someone that can look. Kane. I mean, Kane's numbers are incredible. And you're not going to be able to replace them. And I don't think it's expect you to be able to do that. And I think it will take a combination of two players to give you what Kane does give you, I think.
Well, we've got yeah, carry on.
But I do think that the fact that we've not been able to do that, I mean, I think apart from Llorente, and obviously with Llorente, he has to play two up front, because you needed Llorente. He's a big guy, but he didn't have the mobility of, say, obviously, I think he was in his 30s when he came to us.
33.
33, so clearly he didn't have the mobility that he once had. And so, you're really asking a player to, play in a certain manner.
Still did his job though, didn't he?
Yeah, he still did a job. Obviously Llorente, that knockdown to Dele Alli and which is Lucas Moura. But the thing is that, we still have the same issues. We lack a backup to Kane.
Well, we might be sorting that out if the rumours are to be believed. We'll come on to that a little later.
So I'm saying that that's the thing. In 2017, we basically 2017 was our high point, and then we went down, and that's mostly because two things. Essentially, recruitment has pretty much largely not been as successful as it was, say, the first 2 years prior, when we obviously had that incredible window. We signed Toby, Sonny. Dele came in January, but didn't really properly join until summer. Kieran Trippier, and who was the other one? Kevin Benmer, who had a very good season, had a very good 18 months with us. Even Min-jae, but then it's kind of you had that really high point recruitment, and we've never really recovered since then in terms of players we brought in. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't, maybe the players can turn it around. I mean, it's, Lucas, I'm not never thought Lucas as a right wing back or right winger, but I think Ashley Young showed it could be done if you have that ability, and Ashley Young's a bit of a shithouser anyway, so.
Well, so Ashley Young was kind of, he was kind of like winger who would always try to go track back anyway, so I guess it was kind of natural fit into, well, not natural, but he would take to the left back slot quite easily, so I guess he's kind of unique in that way, really. But I think now we're seeing, well, in terms of now, because obviously there was that painful moment where we didn't sign anybody, and then obviously the team went backwards and we didn't really replenish until it was too late, and that's where that cost Pochettino's job. But now Mourinho's here, and he had that issue trying to take on Pochettino's side, along with the injuries. Now, I guess after the end of the lockdown, with the players that were due to be out injured for all the season, they're now back and fully fit, and now we're kind of seeing sort of the work that went in during that lockdown period where football was cancelled, and we're seeing some of it come to fruition. The Sheffield United game notwithstanding, and Bournemouth, that was hard to describe, really. I mean, it was a great defensive display. If you're thinking about 90 minutes of just parking the van in front of your own goal, well, that was weird. But can't put our defensive display. Maybe, yeah. Well,
I remember a very turgid performance against Stoke. It was absolutely awful. It was absolutely woeful. I left the game early because it was so bad. And then it took about 6 months. It took that Harry Kane Chelsea game, kind of thing, to really change how we saw things. Yeah. I think sometimes the players do emerge, players do come through. I think in that case, in that particular instance, we did see the emergence of a very, very good individual. It just took a while, and I think sometimes, it's like Liverpool. Liverpool didn't really become good. saying it's all down to Alexander-Arnold. I'm saying that's his tool, but what he allowed was the ability for them to stretch the pitch.
Yeah.
Because obviously, and that's by being able to go through him. Obviously, it's kind of like you have two people. You can have Alexander-Arnold, or you can have for Robertson, and then you have very good. Because I mean, if I look at the Liverpool midfield, I can't imagine many people thinking, "Oh my God, I want that midfield."
Yeah.
All that midfield does is a very good job. It protects the defence really, really well. It allows, to get the ball to the wingers and allows the front three, who are very fluid, to do what they do. But I think it just takes, the right planning here or there. It works. But, and I think that's a good segue onto potential ins and potential outs. And I must admit, my mind has been changed a little bit because I thought Lucas, I like Lucas, he'll always have a special place in my mind, but I just thought that the thing about Lucas was his assist numbers are really poor, and they were at PSG as well. He didn't have very good assist numbers at PSG either, which is kind of shocking considering, let's face it, that is a cakewalk league, I mean.
I know, it's played quite well in the last couple of games, I thought. Did very well against Arsenal, quite industrious, and then did very well against Newcastle as well.
It's finding a role, isn't it? I think once you find a role that suits or works your talent, I think we know that Lucas isn't. I think it's like, I think we played Mbele, I think years ago against West Brom with a defensive number 10.
Yeah.
We did have Dele Alli at the time, and Ericsson, I think he might have been injured or something. So sometimes we were using him as a defensive number 10, and if anything, I think using him as a defensive, because he has got an eye for a through ball, as we saw.
Yeah.
He can put a through ball, and his crossing, when he runs with the ball, so he doesn't see the cross, he doesn't see the pass, but what he does do, he gives you yardage, you can carry the ball. And I think, similar to it's kind of weird, it's like, Sissoko can run into space, he can run with the ball, he can carry the ball, he just can't cross it, because he has got technical ability in the final third.
Yeah,
and then
let's keep it simple.
And you've got someone like Lucas who can run with the ball, but he hasn't got the awareness because he doesn't look up, know when to release. But what they do have is two very good strengths. They can carry the ball really, really well. And I do think that we found roles for them. I think that's what it's all about, really. As a coach, you have to work with what you have. And I'll go give credit to Jose. He has worked really well with his players he's got.
Yeah, exactly that. And obviously seen the fruits of it now. And I know that people still they won't enjoy the football on display, but it was. I don't know. I think it was essential that we work on the defence. Really, I mean, it's all very well having that all a pre-football and scoring 5 or 6 goals, but if we end up conceding 3 or 4, then there's always going to be that danger that you won't
like
get.
the Guardiola same as 5 kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's all that danger that you can put on a fantastic effort and come away with a defeat.
With nothing, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's my take on the matter. I think, I'm not going to, obviously, the court has spoken. Clearly, Man City did not cheat. Did not, they did not cheat at all. How dare you say anything but, how do you say anything else?
I just wish Enoch would just go to our club shop and just buy 500 million shirts as well, just to put coffers in our bank.
But I think, ultimately, here's the thing. I mean, if you look at, say, Abramovich, one of the reasons he fired Mourinho, originally, he's had trouble because he wanted to play that Arsenal style, football, and the Vincent stuff. And that's very hard to do unless you have, even Pep, he's done it for 3-4 years. But even with out of the 4 years he's been here, the first year he came here, it was magnificent. Then we kind of put the spokes on his wheel. And then I think he barely finished 4th. Did he finish 3rd or 4th that season? I don't remember.
3rd.
It wasn't like a vintage kind of, man. It wasn't hardly vintage. And then obviously he then got given £200 million something, spent it on 3-2 fullbacks. Yeah. And then he pressed the manifesto. He's doing brilliantly. And I'm not saying what I'm trying to say is it's kind of like, how to put it, you can't sometimes fight fire with fire. You have to basically use your resources. Kind of thing. I mean, the whole idea of David, David and Goliath. There's no way David would have seen Goliath if he thought him with a sword. I'm saying. Yeah. But he fought him on his terms, he had the surprise, and obviously no one thought that, Slingshot could really do that much damage. And he did, and, and that's what it boils down to. I think Mourinho, he is working, there's a method. I mean, like I said, we tried that high pressing against, say, I love the high press. The problem is, if you play a very good high press against a really good, team that has got very fast forwards, that you can get really exposed. The French football exposes you incredibly to that. And that's what happened numerous times.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'll give credit to what Pochettino did, and what he did was transform our club. Well, just how I read that. I read that what got us in the Champions League. Say what you want about how I read that and how it all ended. What he achieved, up until he had not seen that for at least 30 years. He hadn't finished on top 4. 30 years prior to that. No, 20 years. Sorry, 20 years.
I was going to say.
20 years, sorry. And it was just, so like I said, you have to be able to, find a method that works and make it consistent, and also make it sustainable. And, but like I said, I mean, in terms of ins and outs, I must admit, I think some outs are a bit more obvious than others. I think, Cameron Carter-Vickers, I think he's gone.
Well, Cameron Carter-Vickers, you think so? I know he's been perpetually on loan ever since he came through our youth system, but
well, the funny thing is, Chelsea have a player like that. He's been on loan for years. He's never even played for Chelsea.
That's like 6 or 7 different players, isn't it?
Oh no, there's a Brazilian lad. He's been there. Chelsea have held his registration. He's gone out on loan. He's been on loan for most of that time he's been there.
Oh, okay.
He's never actually played for them.
Oh, I see.
I think Jack Clark will be one of those players. Jack Clark or Clive Allen, because he won't actually play for us. I don't see him staying. I don't see. Like I said, he wasn't really a Mourinho signing. And I just can't see how he fits into it. I mean, maybe he'll come back and Mourinho will see something in him that we don't. But again, like I said, I think, and obviously the lack of money this year. I mean, obviously we're still, although we are still in this pandemic. There are no crowds anywhere you go, apart from in New Zealand.
Yeah.
It seems to have completely eradicated the coronavirus.
Yeah, well done.
Generally, we are not in that place to have live crowds, and so without that, relying on TV money and sustainable, that's not so sustainable. You need to have people coming in, people buying drinks, people buying merch, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, in terms of obviously we've been linked to Højbjerg, and that's interesting because I saw him play. I was watching him against Brighton, and I realised he actually wasn't in midfield. Hasenhuttl actually had played him at right back.
Yeah, he's kind of versatile. He is versatile. Just
well, not that day. He wasn't. He had a nightmare.
I was going to say that he's versatile, but at the same time, he doesn't have that kind of driving run or long pass. I mean, basically all he does is he tackles and then gives the ball.
He can pass. He can pass from, say, a central position. He can't cross the ball. He's not really good. He's not comfortable playing on the wing. And, and it's interesting because obviously as soon as Carl Walker-Peters came on, he obviously knows how to play that position.
Yeah.
He played it well, and I think, ironically, it's going to be Carl Walker-Peters will have to, will have to go. Because I don't see him staying at the club much longer. Do you?
Well, no, I think that's what's going to happen. I think that basically that's going to be a swap deal, isn't it? That's he's going to stay at Southampton, whereas Højbjerg will come to us. And I'll be sorry to see him go. Actually, I thought there was plenty of potential. I thought we worked on him and gave him the time to play all the games that he wanted, or needed, I should say. He'll come back to us with a bit more experience and we'll be able to work with it. But I guess he's going to be the make-weight in the deal with Højbjerg, which some Spurs fans will be happy about. But I saw a lot of potential in him, and I liked what he had to offer. He just had to work on his actual awareness at the back. But
concentration was never.
Yeah, but
concentration was not really a strong point, really, was it?
Yeah, but he's still a kid. It's time to learn. Plenty of time to learn. So I'll be sorry to see him go.
Well, here's the thing though. It's weird. Like if you look at say Marcus Edwards, and if you look at the player that he's become,
yeah.
I mean, I think there's something I found very interesting with Marcus Edwards. is the fact that he, what's the word? His numbers are incredible. So he averages a goal or an assist every other game.
Right.
Just put it in context. Okay. So a buddy of mine is a fan of what's the thing called? Of Portuguese football. He's actually not from Madeira. I should say he's from Madeira. Yes, he isn't. He's actually not from Madeira at all.
Your friend's got Crisandro and Ronaldo by any chance, is he?
Well, I say that as well. I keep saying that his boss is Jorge Mendes, and what's the running gag? So yeah, so his name's Ryan. Follow him at Ryan. Just look up Ryan Mendes on Twitter. Really nice guy. Based down in Rhode Island, where there's a lot of Portuguese people actually. And no, he's a big yellow. But you know, and I was asking him. He's convinced that basically Mark Edwards is going to basically come back to us and then he flips. But I must admit, if you look at, say, Ryan, the reason I bring up Mark Edwards is average, say, a goal every 2 games. Goal and assist. They say the Portuguese league, that's not very good. Just put it into context. Bruno Fernandes, his last full season, was averaging a goal and assist every game. Okay? So, and that's in his home country. And he's 23 years old, he's a full Portuguese international. And he's playing for Sporting Lisbon, so who are one of the big 3. So essentially, within a year, Marcus Edwards is achieving, say, comparable numbers, or at least half the numbers of their person that went for 50 million to Man United.
Yeah.
50, 60 million. So, in my view, Marcus Edwards, I think sometimes it's weird when players, they go and they finally get settled and they're not thinking, oh my God, I'm going to go and move again. You know what I mean? You're thinking you're permanent, you're here, we have an investment in you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're committed to making you get better. We're not just like, we're just not dropping off the place. You know what I mean? Before you can, we are committed to you. And you could be here a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, maybe the rest of your, Although obviously in Portugal, they know that they end up selling their best players. It's just what happens really. Yeah, no, it's not the reality. But I think the fact that he knew in his own mind that those coaches were committed to him, and had a serious investment in him. I mean, I don't know. I must admit, the sort of things come back. If you look at say Lamela and Lucas, there's a lot of head. Then obviously these are YouTube highlights, not the whole game. But clearly he shows an awareness. He's got a really good football IQ. Really creative. I think the way it works is we get kids to sell on fees, so plus you've got to do with agents, so it'll be easier for basically Guimaraes to sell into us for 10 million, and then for us to say flip him over for 25 million, kind of thing. But I really do think that we're very short-sighted. I think there is a player there.
No, I agree. Completely agree.
I think even on, and it's like, well, we didn't work on the Posh is the youth whisperer, blah, blah, blah. I just think personally, those last 18 months, 2 years, obviously you've got to competitively climb, but if you look at that picture of him when is it Mauricio Jr. or Mauricio? I don't know how you pronounce his son's name.
Pronounce the same way.
It's the same way, but it's just spelled differently.
Yeah.
But you see how much healthier he is. He just looks healthy. He looks really thin. His face is just full of things. He's obviously been in maybe he's in Barcelona. He looks healthy. I think he needed that break away from football. And I think if you look at Guardiola, he had the same thing. In Guardiola, he left. How long was he away from Barcelona for? I think a year.
About a year, yeah.
I think sometimes you need that because you play such intensity. You need to recharge your batteries a little bit.
That's what Leggery's doing, isn't it? That's why he was not available for Arsenal or whatever.
Or Chelsea. Plus he doesn't see that much English, I don't think. I think he has very, he doesn't trust his English apparently yet. But I think he was hoping for one of the Spanish clubs. I think that's kind of like, that's what he was looking at really. Yeah. No disrespect to Arsenal, although funny you're hearing that from the Tottenham podcast. But I think he was actually hoping for no.
I don't know if it's a podcast or not, but yeah, I think we'll leave that one alone. I guess Claude and had enough ribbing.
I've got to say, do you know what? In a weird way, obviously, his thing about it, Claude. I've always thought of Claude as being the best of them. If that makes any sense.
More level-headed one, yeah.
As in, like, although that's not saying that much considering who they are. I always thought he was a bit. Like I said, he always seemed like someone that he clearly Arsenal is very important to him. Yeah, it's a huge part of who he is. Maybe a little too much, but yeah. And then obviously it wasn't the most. I mean, I don't want to talk. I don't give too much time to it. But here's the thing. Number one, if Robbie Attal is so against racism, why did they not speak up at the time?
Yeah.
Why did none of them speak up at the time? Number one. Number two, why did they do that incredible, like, that weird, like, it wasn't about that, it was about Tottenham do DVDs when they win games. Yeah,
the excuse video, you mean, yeah.
And then, incredibly, as soon as Harry started to pull out, then it was like, oh no, we don't tolerate racism. So, well, you kind of did, because you clearly heard it, and you ignored it. You then tried to explain it away, and when that didn't work, and you wanted to pull it out, guess what? Then you thought, oh shit, we need to react. So, sorry mate, just not buying it. But that's what I want to say on that. I don't know if you want to say anything more. But
no, I think you pretty much covered it. There was also another comment made by another one of the crew there about Harry Kane, but I guess well, I don't know. I think they've been hit way too many times already. But
I think,
the one comment by Troops was a bit off as well. But I wasn't quite sure if he was referring to Harry Kane's race or whether he was referring to his shirt colour. But when he made a comment, so yeah, that's why.
I don't know. The only reason any of us ever watch that particular, I'm not even going to mention my name. The only reason we ever watch that particular, that channel is based on when they lose, because they go nuts. And we enjoy watching their reaction. Yeah, we enjoy that. So it's like people going Raw back in the day. Oh my goodness, there's a big meltdown on Raw. Yeah, so that's kind of a good laugh.
Yeah,
and and though the captain of their ship may deny it. That's how he makes his money.
Yeah.
He knows that people, the only reason people will watch that is to see, his fans, because they know they weren't doing as badly as they were. Nobody would watch it. If their reaction wasn't as visceral, you enjoy it. That's why I'm very glad that we haven't got to that stage yet, but give it time. Obviously, that whole Amy Cow thing and the flyby.
True, very true, very true. But I mean that's an unfortunate episode. But I mean, looking forward to now. Well, there's only about a couple of games left now, isn't there? So
it's a bit weird because obviously normally, obviously in a weird. I mean, obviously there's no doubt lockdown has helped us. We've got Harry Kane back in fit.
Foden back as well from his broken arm.
Son's back, Soko's back. And ultimately that has helped us. We have really benefited from lockdown. We just don't know how we have benefited from it. But there's no point benefiting from it if the structural problem isn't resolved. And that is, we don't have backup for Harry Kane.
And that's where more the rumours come in that I'm sure you've heard, Victor Osimhen, Nigerian striker, young kid from his place called Lille. Apparently, he was due to go to Napoli, but decided to put a stop to it when he heard that Spurs were interested in him.
See, I don't know much about. I don't follow the French league that much. I think, because like I said, it is. I don't want to call it Mickey Mouse. I think. No, I'm not calling it Mickey Mouse. I'm just saying we're only one team can realistically win it. You know what I'm saying? It's hardly blowing advertisement.
Well, Man City's cousins, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, I do notice that. Obviously, we were linked to. I mean, I'm hoping we get that player Milik from Napoli. Because I think the reason being, I think Holberg he's got a year left on his contract, so that gives us negotiating power, and hopefully Levy won't try and screw them. But we hope. I said hopefully he won't try and screw them. I said hopefully. I didn't say he wasn't going to.
But what's the space?
What I'm saying is we have room. We have scope for negotiation which we wouldn't have had, say, earlier. I think what my point I'm trying to make is that, what's the word I'm looking for? I think, I personally think, I wouldn't mind seeing us do with Carl Peters. I'll buy that deal and say, look, we want to say a third of his sell-on fee, a 30% sell-on fee. And that way, if he does do really well, we can buy him back for a third of the price.
Yeah.
At a discount, which works in our favour. I think we can, and who knows, maybe, well, the other thing I'd like to see us do, I don't know whether they would, I know Skip did sign a new deal.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, at the end of the day, I don't think, is he ready? I don't know. I mean, for me,
he's still young, but at the same time, I think so.
Well, one thing I noticed about him, I must admit, that really stood out for me. Was if you look at, I mean, obviously he's 20 now rather than 17. When I first saw him, though, is that he's just obviously naturally physically developed out, and he's actually talked about going to the gym and everything. Yeah. And he looks a lot more physically bigger. He has quite a muscle. Yeah. And I think at Southampton, he's going to get game time. And, because I think Romeo,
Oriol Romeo, yeah.
He's why he's a good player. He gets a lot of yellow cards. Yeah. And so those suspensions, and the fact that basically they do need, he's going to get game time. So I think we could say sweeten the pot somewhat by saying, look, give us a sell-on fee for KWP. We all throw Skip in on loan as well. And hell, we'll even pay his wages. Because this is a good deal for us because he gets game time with you. Yeah. So we'll pay his wages. It's a good call for us. Essentially, it's zero risk to you. Essentially, you've got a body there for a year. And I would have liked to have kept him just so he could have played in the Europa League a little bit. Because I think that's a really good opportunity which players aren't going to often get. But I do think that he's got potential. I think so if you go from Skip on loan, normally a loan fee is 2-3 million maybe. He's got to pay the wages. That's worth what another. I don't know how much the wages are, but that's still worth a fair bit. Yeah. And so like, we'll throw in KWP. We'll want a sell-on fee for that. And if anything, I think you get Højbjerg done. I think a good DM is priority for us. And obviously it isn't great to lose the right back, especially now, considering the absolute tragic news that will happen to Gloria. I mean, it wasn't just that his brother was killed; he was murdered. I mean, I think the suspect now handed himself into police.
Oh, thank God! Yeah, R.I.P. Christopher Aurier. That's kind of news that no one needs.
It is absolutely tragic. I mean, it is. I mean, friends of mine talk about things that they've lost, many years ago or whatever, and that can happen when it's like an accident or illness. But when it's actual murder, I mean, apparently he was shot, and it's so horrific, and it's just all murder is needless, all murder is tragic. You know what I'm saying? But it's just so I couldn't believe when I saw playing against Newcastle. I'm like, what? Yeah,
that was surprising, but I understand why he decided to play, and full respect to him really. And I mean, I couldn't imagine how hard it was to try and concentrate on the game, especially when tragedy had happened 48 hours before.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Serge always had a different relationship with some online media. I've called him out a few times for his mistake, and I think the goal that he made, the goal that Newcastle scored, was a result of poor clearance. Yeah. But at
the same time, I guess, I mean, I know it's a poor pass. I guess no one would have envisaged Richie striking from that distance.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying he would, but I'm not being bad. But like his thing, when you clear it forward, or if you clear it sideways, make sure it goes to somebody else. Yeah. And if you're the right back, chances are there's no one to the right of you.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
But that's neither here nor there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just it is. It kind of shows how trivial football really is, really. When it comes to that kind of stuff. But like I said, it was just something that just as a thought that occurred to me at the time. But no, and obviously, see how he handles it. I mean, you've been linked to Matt Sarans. I mean, for me, it's money. For me, I don't know. I mean, for me, I'm really happy with the fact that we've got. I think Jaka Tanganga can play there, the right back.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think he could do a job there. I think if we go to say 3-4-2-1, so which is what I'd like to see us do at some stage, three at the back. I don't. Jose's not. I know Jose likes 4-3-3. So whether he'll be willing to do that, I don't know. But
I suppose with Jose, he likes to chop and change, which is what I like to see. I mean, under Pochettino, yeah, it was brilliant. Which basically made the statement. It was like, "This is our team, come and beat us." And obviously that gives us a lot of confidence. But I like the way that Jose adapts to each different city scenario. So I like seeing the 4-4-2 as well. I've seen 4-4-2 the last couple of games.
I mean, it's really weird because 4-4-2 has been considered to be very old-fashioned, and whatever it is, it's a very old formation. And but obviously you've seen like Diego Simeone, the way he's used it, and the way he's reinvented it. I mean, that's the thing. Jose tactically was very, very smart the way he's used it. And then, I don't like the idea of playing Route 1, but I think it is. I mean, we don't have those kind of players yet that can play that kind of pretty tiki-taka kind of football, just playing it out the back and everything. Sometimes you have to go direct. Sometimes you have to do that. I do like the fact that we've now dropped this asymmetric, like fallback thing. I do like that we've dropped that because I just thought that made it very, very predictable. I think it became too predictable. I think the fact that we're not. I mean, we are getting service to Kane. It's still a work in progress. I think it will. I think it will happen, but. For me, I mean, definitely Højbjerg would be someone I'd like to get in. I think Skippy, he can move on. So I think that lowers the fee that we'd have to pay for Højbjerg. Yeah. Especially if we sell KWC to here, to them. Obviously, we can both, obviously, it would be wrong to manipulate the books to create a profit that it doesn't exist. Because obviously, no. Lying, misleading financial statements are wrong. Okay? They are wrong to do. I said they're wrong. I don't know why you're laughing. I said they're wrong to do. I said they are completely wrong to do. I don't know why you're laughing.
I don't know. It always feels like there's a coded message there. I'm not quite sure if it is.
I think apart from because I think if you look at the players, I mean, I don't think Jack Charles staying. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Jose gets him. You might want to do something with him. But I think. I don't look at those players and think, oh God, I don't really fancy him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Lucas maybe, Lamella, possibly just because of his, he can be injury prone. And I think he has lost a bit of he has lost a little bit of pace. I think not too much, but he's lost a little bit. Maybe, because for me, for example, if you can get, say, someone like Marcus Edwards in for 9 million, shift, say, Lamella on, say, 15 million, and there's no way they're at the same weight level. So, there's no way they're at the same weight level. I think that works. I really do think that works.
You're assuming, because I know Lamella kind of like comes off the wing, doesn't he? I don't think Edwards is that type of player. I think he's more of a central type of player.
Well, if you play something, the thing is, for Victoria Guimaraes apparently at Southampton, their league. Yeah. He plays nominally as a right wing forward, but he moves into the middle sometimes. So because they have that ability to go wherever he wants, kind of thing. And I mean, he is very, very well footed. There's no doubt about it. I mean, for me, in an ideal world, we would clone Gio Lo Celso, play him as both a number 8 and a number 10. But that is impossible. So, and I do think, I like Lamella, I do. But I think. He does have bad habits. He does hold on to the ball a little bit too long. He doesn't have that same speed that he once had, kind of thing. And he obviously developed in terms of physically. If you look at the player he came from Rome, and the player that comes in, physically he's much more, much stronger. He's also a stronger player. He's physically developed much more, and he's toughened up a lot. But I just think, who knows? Maybe we'll keep him. I think there is one asset that's very sellable. But in this current market, I don't think that's possible, and that would be Tanguy Ndombele.
Well, you'd want to sell Ndombele?
I wouldn't want to sell him, but if you need to raise funds, I don't know who else would you sell? You look at that team. The only person I can think they could sell would be Dele Alli, because I think I would struggle to find a place for him in the team.
I suppose there's been a lot of talk in the group, isn't there, about whether Dele stays or goes, and it is going to be hard, I guess. Yeah.
Where would he go to though? Because he needs. I mean, I think Real Madrid will be a good thing for him because of Benzema. Benzema's a very mobile forward, and he can basically work up his movement, kind of thing. For me personally, I just think personally, his best position is playing on the left-hand side of the team.
Yeah.
And then just basically swapping around sometimes, basically making those runs. I think. I don't know if he's got. I think he's back to Leicester. I don't know. Will he be back to Leicester?
Don't know actually.
But I think that'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Leicester tomorrow. That's going to be an interesting game. I think I haven't looked at the table since that defeat to Sheffield United. So I'm not quite sure how we're doing in that respect. But imagine Chelsea have got third place there up now, and I think Leicester were the capital side. But I guess I heard that they won against Sheffield United, which is a surprise.
I mean, this may sound like heresy, but I actually wouldn't mind losing to Leicester if it meant Man United didn't finish in the top four. Therefore, they had to win the Europa League. And I still think they can win the Europa League. I think they still can.
Yeah.
But then obviously that puts a lot of pressure on them to win the Europa League. And, let's say Bruno Fernandes gets injured. He's the one piece of that domino. If he gets injured, what happens then? I mean, I'm not wishing him injury or anything else like that, but if that does happen, then obviously it affects them. But
they do have an echo just relying on one player each time, don't they? Before it's Pogba, and now it's Fernandes. So, I guess. Well, the thing is, if he is injured, then Pogba's in the background, isn't he? So
Pogba.
For some reason, they're not playing two of them at the same time.
I think it's really helpful. I think Bruno Fernandes has really lifted those Eriksen would lift our shit, kind of thing. Eriksen was on form. He would lift all those around him. Yeah. I think Fernandes has done the same thing, and I think it's really worked for him. But I do, like I said, I think if you forget at that time there were four players. I think it was Celso, Olmo, Fernandes, and Ndombele. And those are the four. They weren't being linked with, say, the upper echelon clubs like Juventus, Bayern Munich, PSG. They were linked to the clubs that wanted to be in that get their level. Yeah. Or obviously Man United were at that level of PSG. They weren't hadn't been for many years. So they're trying to reclaim their crown. But that's where he was being pitched at. And the Celso interview worked out. Olmo got his move to Dortmund. And Ndombele hasn't worked out, but again, there's still time. But I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, first season, so we'll see how it goes second. So we've gone through a fair bit. So I think it's as good a time as any just to wish all our listeners, all three of them, make sure that they stay safe in this time of Corona. Yep. And I'm saying, and then hopefully we can, move. It'll be interesting because obviously our pubs are reopened, but obviously like California closed, then reopened and closed again. I think the NBA, they've had a lot of infections as well. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, I think the season won't start until, mid-September, I think? Late September, I think it is. Well, it's interesting because I think, they didn't have any training. The players were told to keep fit, like, just do your own thing. Yeah. And that's what players basically do. Even when they go on holiday, they will still run, they'll still lift, thing. They'll still keep themselves fit. I think, in a weird way, they've had their holiday without having a holiday, if that makes any sense. And they'll get another couple of weeks, won't they? I imagine that the break's only going to be about 2 or 3 weeks. They'll probably get like a week, and they can't go anywhere either. They can't really go anywhere. Yeah, exactly. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. Anyway, obviously, Crisandro is Man Like Press on Twitter. You can find out Crisandro at CRISNDRO _. You cannot find me at the Real Short One. You cannot find me there at all. You cannot find some idiot telling Arsenal to, saying, I wonder how many of our listeners saw that video of you running around Tottenham. Excuse me, it wasn't me. Oh, sorry, this video that appeared on your account of some guy running around Tottenham. We saw you running by the stadium. It wasn't me. We saw you running up the road. It wasn't me. We saw you in your Spurs shirt. It wasn't me. We saw you in those trainers. It wasn't me. Yeah, that was saw the pictures on the camera. It wasn't me.
That was a good way to celebrate a win, I think. Whoever it was,
Well,
of
the
course.
funny thing was apparently that video, who I don't know who released it, that actually happened before the actual game happened.
Oh, so that's like foretelling then.
It was,
Someone's a clairvoyant.
whoever did it, clearly, is someone who's a bit of a dipstick, really, but,
I think I'm being a bit harsh on the guy, you know.
no, I think it's completely not dipstick, really. Tell him myself.
Oh, that's brilliant. But anyway, we'll be playing Leicester tomorrow. Hopefully get a victory in that one, and then we round off things with the final game away to... Who's it away to? It's Palace, isn't it?
Oh, Palace, yeah. Which
Yeah.
is really sad for me because I've gone to every Palace game for the last 3-4 years, kind of thing.
Yeah, same here.
And it is what it is. I mean, for me, I'm actually so happy, really. Obviously, Arsenal play in the FA Cup final, semi-final today, or tomorrow.
Do they? No, I haven't paid attention.
And I'll say it'll be interesting, but like I said, it's, football is football. At the end of the day, I must admit, I am being very apathetic. I mean, obviously, there's August will be the Europa League. I am going to enjoy that perspective, but it's still, I don't know. It's just,
Well, I think basically the goal for the season now, the way I see it, if we could qualify for the Europa League, and I know it was Jose's record, he wants to go out there and try and win it again, and I'll be so pleased with that, because I don't mind the competition. I want it to be taken seriously, because I see it as a European trophy.
I don't give a shit.
I know you don't.
Here's my thing, right? Here's my thing.
There's a trophy and there's a route to Europe, to Champions League. So,
here's the thing. I'd rather get my route to Europe to the league. That's number one. I do think, however, it's a very good way for young players who are on the cusp of the first team, the likes of your Troy Parra. Because like someone like Troy Parra, you're not going to give him a loan move. No one can take him on loan. But I think there's 8 Europa League games in the group stages. Roughly, you play 8 or 10.
6.
So 6.
In the group stage, yeah. 6.
No. It's a group of 5 in the Europa League, isn't it?
No, it shows you haven't watched the Europa League for about 4 or 5 years. It hasn't been a group of 5
really?
since we played Getafe. That was when it was a group of 5. It's been a group of 4 now for a good 4 or 5 years now.
So what I'm saying is, it gives, what I'm saying is that it gives the likes of, say, a Dennis Harvey White, Troy Parra, Dennis Serkin, even Justin Tanganga, really. And obviously there's that player, that Min-jae, who we've been linked with.
Yeah, I like the look of him. I'd love it if we signed him.
I actually asked my friend about him. I said, look, how good could he have been if he was already ready to, because he's playing in China. He goes, look, they offered him a shitload of money. He didn't have to move that far from where he was in South Korea. And, and that's what and that way.
Beijing, don't he? So, yeah, that's literally across the water from South Korea.
Yeah, and literally, he's just playing at a level he was at the Korean League. Just a shitload of money. I don't know. Well, but like I said, I think, if that happens, someone like him, you've got to say 5 players. You say, look, you've got the Europa League, that's 6 guaranteed games you're going to play. If you are fit, you're going to be starting these Europa League games. Even at Lumberlane, I say, look, you know what? You're going to be starting these games. You're guaranteed, you know what? Show me what you can do. Show me why you can't pay £50 million for you, kind of thing. But like I said, I don't, it's interesting. But I think that's how I say, look, if you're, Parra, if you're Serkin, if you're Harvey White,
Yeah.
And Tanganga, and obviously Skip would have been one of, we would have been absolutely, would have nailed in the first team player. Even the third one, CDB, that was a peach of a cross.
That was a brilliant cross, yeah.
You know what? I know if I'm playing Sissoko or I'm playing Lucas, do you know what? You do a good Europa League game, force me to change my mind. Force me to show that, you know what? Because you can do it against these Europa League guys. If you can't do it against Europa League guys, you can't do it against the Premier League. You know what I'm saying? Show me why I should put you in the Premier League, in the Premier League campaign.
Well, I suppose the early games in the Europa League, the qualifiers tend to be from the lower ends of European leagues. I guess, they can chop and change and play and blood some of the younger players in there. But
I have to say 6, 7 players. Say, look, you're going to be, especially the young players, you're going to be playing every game. Josh Bett, you'll be playing every game. Keep yourself fit, keep yourself sharp. Make sure you're fit for those games.
Well, I don't imagine it's going to be that much of a turnaround because Jose will want to try and win it, so I don't think he's going to take the team that will play against that lightly.
I'm not taking it lightly. I'm saying in the knockout stages, take it seriously. In the group stages, you've got 5 players and really use it to block them. You know? I mean, let's look at who was starting in those Europa League games back in 2015, even in 2014. It was Harry Kane, it was Ryan Mason. You know? Those guys. And look how they came through.
Yeah.
Look at, say, 2015. The guys starting in the Europa League. Harry Winks. Dele Alli. Something. And look how they came through. So I'm just saying that you have to, in the knockout stages, you want to start playing your slightly better players. You know? But in the group stages, you want to say to these young players, this is what you make your name. Yeah? Look what Harry Kane did. Show me what you can do now. You know? Yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, let's call this, kept it about 50-odd minutes, 55 minutes, so yeah.
Yep, no problems. And, well, we shall see what happens tomorrow. And, like I said, if we win that one, win against Palace, see where we are in the season, then build for next season, which is all important. We've got a longish transfer window. Let's make good use of it this time. We didn't 2 years ago when Poch needed it. Let's make sure that we do it this time. That's all I'm saying to the people above.
I'm thinking, testing on, not testing on. I've got testing on. Let's face it, it's not testing on. You say to him, you know what? Because I think they're going to keep him. I don't know if they're going to give him like Premier League minutes or send him out on loan. It'd be interesting if he does go back to if Fulham do go up. If we go back to Fulham on loan, that'll be hilarious to happen. But no, I'm just saying, like I said, play Europa League. Show us what you can do.
Yeah.
And imagine, I'm not in bad. If you have, say, if you play a 4-4-2, or even have, say, 3, just setting on one wing and Bergen on another wing. You've got that Korean lad, Tanganga, Sirkin and White.
Min-jae. Yeah.
So we've got, 6 really decent players. You've got 6 really good prospects. I mean, obviously, Steve Lowe and modern prospect, kind of thing. And then, so look, show them what you can do. And I think, and then obviously you can get players like if you get Milliken, bleed him in there, Para as well. And especially if you get Para, then look, rather than playing up front by yourself, we'll give you a striker to play up the lane on side. There's nothing to be on you, and we'll support you. Because it isn't about finishing top in that. Obviously, it's better to finish top, obviously, but as long as we qualify, anything, once better players come through, we have a good chance of winning it. Okay? Yeah. Right now, I want to see us really look like the youngsters. Anyway.
Cool.
Let's call us quits. All right. Cheers, Crisandro.
Yep, and cheers to you, Shubes.
Please check out the Sun Supplement. We are on Twitter and on Facebook.
Soon to be on Instagram. Well, when next season starts, whenever that will be. But yep, until then, hopefully you have a good game tomorrow in Crystal Palace, and we have a good summer. Well, what's left of it. So
guys, stay safe and wear a fucking mask. Round about.
Exactly.
Indoors, wear a fucking mask.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, so everyone, see you later. Come on, you Spurs, and you'll take care.
Come on, Spurs.